Hello, welcome to Bitten. This is our mental health series Bite Back, where we talk to people about their empowering mental health journeys to hopefully inspire other people who might be struggling. Please give us a follow at We Are Bitten on Instagram and subscribe to our YouTube channel, Bitten. Thanks a million for watching and see you soon. Lucy, you're right.
Hello.
You good?
I'm good, thank you. Yeah,
Good.
nice to see you.
And to see you too. Thank you so much for coming on today. Today, you're going to be talking about recovery from major depression and addiction to benzodiazepine.
Yeah.
So thanks again for coming on. So I guess to start with, I just wanted to talk to you about where it began, and I guess, was there a catalyst?
Yeah. Well, I think probably to put it in context, I've always sort of had throughout my life suffered from periods where, depression, I suppose depressive episodes, as they would call it. I think it got bad though, probably, and this is only on sort of reflection of it, maybe when I stopped doing the thing that I loved, which was acting and being creative, and realized that I needed to find maybe another path in life. And actually, the path that I picked didn't particularly make me very happy. And I was under a lot of stress. I gradually began, it didn't happen suddenly. It was, over quite a few years really of just slowly, progressively getting sort of worse and worse, and sort of hiding myself away quite a lot. And I began to sort of self-medicate, really, to be able to get out the door in the morning. I used to take lorazepam, which was, at first, it was prescribed to me by a GP to help with anxiety. So, I began to take it. Very, very quickly got dependent to it, because that's, looking back at it now, obviously that is something that is very well known, that it's very quick to become dependent on. And that you then have to increase the dose so to get the same effect. So I was taking more and more and more. I was trying to get through work, and that wasn't particularly a nice environment to be in. It wasn't what I wanted to do. It was very stressful, quite pressured. And I began to, just slowly fall apart. And it got to the point where, in a nutshell, I couldn't work anymore. I had to stop working. I think that point came when I realized that I couldn't do it myself. I always thought I'd be able to come off them myself, or I'd start trying, but it's one of those things that you can't really come off yourself. It's dangerous too. So, and that's something that, I'd always say to someone: don't try and come off it yourself. You need to talk to someone about it, someone medical. I guess, so yeah, there was quite a few catalysts, but it didn't happen. It wasn't just one thing that started it. It was a real slow progression to the point where I couldn't do anything. I wasn't living a life. I was indoors. I wasn't part of society. I was probably drinking too much, taking huge amounts of these drugs to try and get through the day. And I literally...
I was going to say, sorry to interrupt you, Lucy.
That's right.
Quite dangerous. I mean, if you're taking...
Yeah.
Lorazepam, is it with...
It was lorazepam that I was taking, yeah.
Yeah, with alcohol as well.
Yeah. It incredibly...
Like a deadly combination.
Yeah. And I still pinch myself now, because I think, how did I not wake up? How did I wake up every day? Because my body, I think I must have put my body through so much. And there were people, on my recovery journey that I learned about, that actually, that had actually succumbed to that, had literally one day not woken up. And that, to me, is, I was so close to it, and I didn't really realize. And actually, I didn't really, it sounds awful, but I actually didn't really care if I did wake up. I cared for my family and friends, obviously, because that's, I wouldn't want to put them through anything like that, never. But actually, for myself, I didn't really care if I woke up or not. And that's, the truth. That's how, it got really, really bad. I was lucky enough to have some amazing help from the NHS, who were brilliant. At one point I had, to keep me safe, it was decided that instead of being admitted to hospital, I would have care from the home treatment team. And they came to my house every day, these nurses, psychiatric nurses, and they were like angels at my door every day, came to check that I was all right, that, what I was going to attempt to do that day, could I do things, even just washing up seemed like a massive trial. The energy that would take was beyond what I could really do. But they were the people that really sort of helped me through a very tough period.
How long did you have a long waiting list? Because I know that a lot of people that I've spoken to, they've called their GP, they've asked for help, and then they've been put on this waiting list. And especially now, the current situation, people are looking at waiting lists of 6 months to a year. Obviously, if you're in the situation you were in, what do you do? I mean, I guess you sound like you were lucky enough that you got help straight away.
It was, I think I did, but I think it was at the point where there were a lot of people involved that needed to be involved. I think I should say I didn't get sort of the counselling side of things. It was very much about the sort of crisis management. So I didn't have access to sort of one-to-one counselling therapy. That would be a waiting list, I'm guessing. But what I did have was I went straight into community mental health team. So I was able to see a psychiatrist and an occupational therapist. And I also had access to an amazing NHS organisation, I guess, called iAccess, which are the sort of the drugs and alcohol dependent department. And they were, I went straight in there, which was amazing because I had access to groups then. So I could have waited, and I could have, been on a waiting list for that sort of help. But I think now, I mean, this, I don't know if it's the same at the moment. I know that, there are some waiting lists, but there is always access to some form of help immediately if you need it. Yes, there might be a waiting list for one-to-one sort of sit-down counselling and actually deal with the problem. But, if you need some form of help or talking now, there is help that you can get. Yeah.
And I was sorry to interrupt you again. So what was the first thing that you did? Did you call your GP to get this community support, or did you go to A&E, and the community support came from there? Or
I'm trying to remember. A lot of what happened I can't remember, because I don't know whether it was the drugs or my brain seems to have blocked out such a big amount of time that I feel like I've lost years actually. But I do remember going to my GP at first, and this was another GP in South London that I went to because I was living in Streatham at the time, I believe. And I went to her and I told her that I was taking these drugs and I was terrified. I was buying them off the internet, so God knows what would have been on them, been in them. And she gave me a card to ring a number. That didn't help. that it didn't. I mean, I'm sure if I'd rung that number, then yes, I'd have been put on a waiting list, and that's fine. But I needed something like different than that. I needed someone to help me come off these pills. So I think the next stage, I think I probably called, I called a few crisis lines, I believe. And yeah, I'm trying to think how it's sort of all connected. I know I went to quite a few different places, and I don't know quite in what order, but I think it was when I moved here that I seemed to get access to what I needed. So I don't know if it's dependent on where you live or what, but that's what happened to me in that one. I think it also took a few other people maybe to get involved, to try and get that sort of help.
I think
it was many different sort of, I can't really answer the question. It was like many different sort of.
That's fine.
Yeah.
And I think if anyone is watching this, I guess the first port of call would be, one, your GP. If you don't feel comfortable talking to your GP, then there are incredible charities out there like Mind and the Samaritans, especially deal with major depression and suicide and addiction. So I would urge anyone to ring those numbers, because they have trained professional staff that will direct you to exactly the right places.
And don't be afraid to say that you are feeling suicidal. I think there's absolutely no shame in that, and you won't shock anyone either. There's more people than you think that feel like that or have felt like that as well. A lot of the people that do the job are because they've been in that similar sort of situation. You won't shock anyone. It's good to say to someone, this is how you're feeling, and because those thoughts are really, really terrifying. And if you can just speak to one person about it, you will feel slightly better. At least it's off your chest and you can get it out of your head. But yeah, there are quite a few numbers to ring. There's always, yes, as you say, Samaritans, Crisis Line. There's different organisations around, but that would take a bit of a Google, as to where you live. I would also obviously say to someone, if you can't keep yourself safe, if you feel that you can't, unfortunately go to A&E. And actually you will get help there. I would say unfortunately because of COVID, but it's fine. Please go. They want to help you. People do want to help you. So do that. Dependent on, if anyone ever wants to contact me through Instagram, you're very welcome to, because I've probably got quite a few different numbers at my fingertips that I can pass on.
What's your Instagram name?
I think it's Lovey Lucy. I'm going to get my Instagram back up and running, but I've not been on it. I've not been that active on the old Instagram recently, but yeah, it's at Lovey Lucy. So yes.
Cool. Cool. So what was the turning point for you? You were in this situation, you were mixing alcohol with lorazepam, sorry. What made you just one day think, this has got to change, like I need to stop?
I think as the drugs were reduced, I think there was sort of 2 points. There was one point when I realised I do want to get help and I do want to come off these, because at one point, I was so terrified of coming off them. Like, you don't take them to feel better, you take them because you don't want the withdrawal. You can't have the withdrawal, so you feel completely trapped, that there's something else controlling you, and it's terrifying. I think once I realized that I needed other people to help, and I actually spoke about it and I admitted it, because for a long time I didn't tell anyone that I was taking them. I was totally ashamed, and I was trying to think that it wasn't really a big problem. It's fine. I just need them to get through the day. But yes, when I went on good old Dr. Google, who terrified the life out of me, and there's some horrendous stories Please don't listen to them. If you're anyone out there, please don't listen to them. Yeah, I actually had a very good experience withdrawing from them, and I was fine.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think there was that point,
Yeah.
and then there was the point once the levels were slowly reduced, I could sort of think clearly, and actually be in a position where I thought, actually maybe now I can live my life again. So I could start to think about work again, whereas I couldn't. I would have been falling asleep at work. I couldn't have gone to work. I could start to think about, actually maybe there is a future, whereas before it had been very much like here and now, and that was it, and I couldn't possibly think of the future because that was too overwhelming. So I could start to think of the future. So I think there was a turning point there, and it was just a very gradual process really of slowly bits and pieces of my life starting to fall back into place and becoming a bit more confident, doing more. I had some really good sort of group therapy, I guess. I went to something, there was a women's group that I went to, and it was just really nice being able to be involved in that. And when I first started, I was very much the person that was at the start of their recovery, and by the time I finished, I was the person that was helping other people, you know, saying you'll do this, and that was really empowering, like really felt very, very good. So there was, you know, that probably was over a year of doing that sort of thing. And then I got really into food and mood and how they connect. Lost a lot of weight because I put on just so much because I just wasn't moving either, and I was sort of, I suppose you could call it, self-medicating with food as well. So lost weight, and I got back into doing swimming, and now I'm really into my fitness. I really love working out, and that's, you know, part of my therapy really is putting some really good tunes on and just working my body, just doing something that makes me feel good. So yeah, I think it's just the building blocks, getting back, getting my life back really.
And you said that when you looked on Google that you saw some quite scary stories about the withdrawal process and how, you know, if you were to come off these drugs, it would be a sad ending. And I know that you've told me before that that's not true, and that's not the same for everybody. Can you just talk a little bit about that, because that's quite interesting to me?
Yeah, when I realised that I couldn't come off them myself, I tried, and it was horrible, like, you know, physically painful, mentally painful. I realised that actually I needed to Google this and find out what the hell's going on. And I Googled it, and there's some really horrible stories, or, you know, a lot of things that say, and yes, this is the truth, is if you can die if you try and come off them yourself. It's the same as alcohol. It's the only, I believe they're the only two things that you can actually die if you try and come off it yourself. And when I say alcohol, you know, an alcoholic, drinking heavily, because you can have seizures when you try and do it. So that scared the living daylights out of me. So I knew that, oh my gosh, I'm going to have to admit this, and I'm going to have to talk to someone, because I can't do it by myself because of these things. There's also a lot of stuff, I think a lot of it comes from America, where, you know, you have to pay loads and loads of money to go in as an inpatient, and they detox you, and there's some horrible stories about those processes that they'll detox you in 14 days and things like that, which is mind-blowing really. So yeah, I was absolutely terrified, and I thought I was completely trapped, you know, completely trapped by these drugs, and I'd never come off them. And I remember thinking, okay, well, if I can just reduce it, maybe I can, you know, carry on living my life just by taking, you know, just a certain amount, just to see me through, and that would be okay. You know, I can at least try. It was only when I went to this, you know, I Access, which is a unit this was actually at St Peter's Hospital in Chertsey. It was only when I went there that the psychiatrist and the nurses sat down. We all sat down in a room, and he basically said, "This is how we're gonna do it. You'll be fine." And that was it. They had it mapped out, and like the relief was unbelievable. I was like, "Oh my God, I might be able to do this myself." Like, but with their help, obviously, and I had to go back. I had to go there every week to get a new prescription, and they would take it, just, see how I was, take a little bit down. And actually it was fine. It was absolutely fine. So yes, it's not the easiest thing to come off. It's really not, but it's totally possible with the right help, which is out there. You can do it. You can come off it. And I've been off them, I think, for about 2 years now, completely off them. And I never thought that would actually be possible, to be completely free of them. I never thought it. I didn't know how to live my life without them, really.
Yeah, absolutely amazing. Yeah. And did you, because you obviously recovered from major depression as well at the same time. So they come hand in hand, or was it a case of deal with the addiction first and then deal with the depression? How did you kind of deal with both of them at the same time? Or they probably come hand in hand though a lot of the time.
I think they did, really. I think one of the ways, I suppose, one of the ways that I dealt with the depression, which was at the same time, was I was on a dosage of antidepressants prior anyway, but that was changed up, and I was given some more pills, which there was a lot, but at the time I probably needed it. And you gradually sort of come off them as you start to feel better, but I think so they helped, definitely. I was sort of rattling by the time that I finished, to be honest, because of all the pills that I was taking. But I think there's some people say don't take antidepressants, some people say do, but it's a real personal choice. And I felt that at the time I didn't really have a choice. I had to get better, and I wasn't able to do it myself. I wasn't able to just suddenly feel better. I did need that little help, and I see it as, if you had a broken leg, you'd have a crutch, and that's how I see it. So that is such a personal choice, and I wouldn't say to anyone take them or don't take them. It's what fits in with you, really.
And I think there's the problem that I've found with talking to people is there's a real stigma about actually taking antidepressants, because people think it's a weakness. If you say to somebody, I take antidepressants, automatically you feel like they think, oh, she's got a problem, she's not, that they're not going to be able to do their job, they're always going to have this problem. And actually it's not true, because like you say, if you have a broken leg, you have a crutch.
Exactly. And that's all it is. It's not like you're taking antidepressant and tomorrow you feel better and everything's bright and you smell the lovely flowers and all that sort of thing. It's not. It's literally just you might one day wake up and feel a little bit lifted, and it takes time. It's not, they're not these powerful things that make like happy pills sort of thing. They're not, but they do just give, if you need. Yes, exactly. Yeah. And sometimes you just, in order to start to get better, you need to be able to start living your life again. You just need that thing that will help you step outside the front door, or just getting on a bus or getting in your car or whatever. You might just need a little bit of help to be able to do that. And for many years I completely shut myself away. I didn't see anyone. I was embarrassed about how I'd come across, or all that sort of thing. And I needed something to help me not feel like that,
Yeah.
really.
And
Yeah.
it's also important to say that there's a lot of different types of antidepressants. So
Yeah.
what works for one person doesn't work for another. So
Yeah.
if your doctor was to put you on an antidepressant, to start with, usually a low dose, and it
Yeah.
do anything for you, well, one, it takes a couple of weeks to kick in a lot of the time, and two,
Yeah.
that might not be the best one for you and your body. So I
Exactly.
don't give up if you don't feel
Yeah.
they're working or they're doing anything for you. And a lot of the time they
There'll
are.
be something else.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. And a lot of the time they are working, you just don't realize it, but
Yeah.
people around you do
Yeah.
notice the difference.
Exactly. And I
And
think it might be one of those things where you know, like I said, you don't like wake up the next day and suddenly everything's fine. You know,
yeah,
in 3 months' time, you might think, actually, I still feel pretty crap, but I don't feel as crap as I felt 3 months ago. And you're slowly building up. You know, you are getting back, and then in 6 months, you might think, actually, I'm having more good days than I am bad now.
mm,
And that's sort of where the turning point happens, really.
absolutely. And I think the other thing to say is you don't have to be on them forever. You know,
No,
when
no,
you feel like you're in a better place in your life, and they have taken that edge off, and you've been able
yeah,
to kind of get through your bad times, then you can, with the doctor's help, and always the doctor's help,
yeah,
you start
yeah,
to wean yourself off of them. But I think one of the most important things to say is never ever stop taking them straight away. You
no,
always need to
don't.
wean yourself off of them, because
Exactly.
the symptoms that you get if you do suddenly stop taking them, is pretty horrific and could put you back
Yeah,
to
you
square
don't.
one. So
Exactly. And
yeah,
also, if you find that your GP isn't sort of allowing you time to talk or to give your worries or anything like that, change your GP.
yeah,
Find one that who will listen to you and will give you the best advice, but will listen to you and what you would like. Um, and yeah, find one that is willing to change up the medication. There might be obviously be reasons, medical reasons why things wouldn't be changed up, and that's fine, and you do have to go with that. But you do need to be listened to as well, and have the options given to you. So if you feel like your doctor isn't giving you the options, go to another, get another opinion. Don't be afraid to do that. It's fine. You know, like people, we get on with some more than others. So, you shouldn't, automatically be given, get on with your GP really, really well. Find one that will listen and who you get on with. I think
definitely,
that's really important.
definitely.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
what advice would you give to somebody, and obviously you've talked a lot about advice in this conversation, but what advice would you give to somebody that's in the same situation that you were in back then? Like, what would you have loved
Yeah.
to say to you back then when you were in bed and you were thinking, I just can't do anything, I can't get out of bed?
I would say that however far you feel that you are into the sort of tunnel of darkness, however far you think you are that you can't ever pull yourself back, there's too many things, there is always hope, and you can. It might take a little bit of time, but you can, and it will happen. That's probably what I would like to say, because I think when I was in that situation, I thought, oh, but then there's this, and then there's this, that I had a lot of debt that I was thinking, how am I ever going to deal with that? And I'm not working. There's so many different things, and I thought it was irretrievable. I really did think that I couldn't sort of bring myself back out again. But you can. The other bit of advice is, I'd say, just talk to someone. It's quite easy, you might have loads of people around you but feel very lonely, so there is someone else that you can talk to, by ringing one of the numbers or anything. Just find someone. Sometimes it's easier to talk to a third person, like someone that's completely out of your situation, someone that you don't feel that you're going to let down, or you don't want to impose all your emotion on. You feel that you don't want to yeah, make them feel bad somehow, but you know, talk to someone, just someone. And there is always a new day, so there's always hope. And you might not wake up tomorrow and feel amazing or better or anything like that, but think about it in this time next month, I'm going to feel better, 3 months, that sort of thing. And it's just the gradual building blocks of putting things back together. And it's not, you don't, please don't feel that you are, if you can't do it yourself, don't feel that then that's it. We all need cheerleaders. We all need people that will help us. And there is help. There is help. I think that's the thing. And, you know, do be truthful when you speak to someone. Don't be afraid to say that you're, you know, feeling suicidal or, you know, using that word. Don't be afraid of it. It needs to be said, you know. So, yeah.
Yeah.
I think that's probably what I'd say.
Yeah, definitely. I think the most important thing is to just be open about your mental health, because there are some people out there that will judge you, but so what? Because there are other people out there, and a lot more people, especially now, that won't judge you and will be there to help you and give you advice. So I think if you don't have the support around you, there is support outside of your close-knit friends and family. You can do it. You can do it on your own with support of other people if you don't have the support within your community. So,
and I think if someone is thinking, you know, I can imagine someone might be sort of thinking, but I've been saying this to my GP for ages, or I've told this person about it. Change, go to someone else, because then there'll be someone else that will listen or will take you seriously, or give you some other advice. You know, there might be other things that you can do that you've not thought of, or they've not told you or don't know about. You know, they just might not know about certain organizations that are out there, but someone else will.
Okay. And finally, what we talk about on Bitten, we talk about mind food. So mind food is basically what makes you feel good. It could be a quote that you read every day that you live by. It could be something that you do when you feel a bit crap. What is it for you that, and then you can have
embarrassingly, actually no, it's not embarrassing. It's not embarrassing, but it's because you've been like saying like, oh, house music. I'm like, oh, for me it's like ABBA or like some show tunes. Like definitely, it is. I'm not embarrassed. And it is that, as you say, it's putting some music on and going out, going for a walk. I'd like to say, getting a real good workout in. Sometimes that's not possible. I'm not motivated. I'm feeling a bit crap. But if I can just get myself out of the house, go for a walk, get out and about, then I will feel better. And it's like, putting the music on and just the sort of the feel good tunes. If you create maybe a sort of, I don't know, like a load of tunes that, you know, make you feel good, that you can play, put your headphones in and just listen to that sort of music. You can just, it's just for a little pick me up. And I suppose a quote, and I actually heard this quote recently, and I suppose it sort of summed up what we've been talking about really, is however hard you fall, there will always be someone to catch you. And I really, I totally get that, you know, from what we've been talking about. And it might not be the people that you most expect that might catch you, it's someone else. There's always help, like a group or an organization. You know, it might not be the people that you think of, like your GP or your friends and stuff. You know, it could be something else. So you just got to maybe search for it a little bit.
Oh, thank you. I think just to finish it, I think both of us have experienced, you know, moderate to severe levels of mental health issues, and definitely for both of us, we've come out the other side. And I would just say to everybody that there is, and it sounds a bit cheesy, but there is light at the end of the tunnel. I love my life. Yes, I have bad days. I really do. I get horrible PMT. I get all of these kind of things. But like you said earlier, tomorrow is another day, and you can wake up feeling completely differently. Things change all the time, and I just think that's really important to anyone that's struggling out there, that tomorrow is another day.
Yeah, tomorrow is another day. And yeah, and sometimes, you know what, sometimes you can allow yourself to have a bad day and to not leave the house, and just to put your feet up, because you know what, we live in such a fast-paced world, maybe not so fast at the moment, but we do live in a fast-paced world. And actually, you know, you are allowed to have a bad day, but one bad day doesn't make a bad life, as they say. You know, and do just give yourself a bit of self-care. Yeah.
Oh, Lucy, thank you so much.
You're welcome. Thank you very much. It's been a real privilege, and I just wish you every success with Bitten. It's brilliant, and I will be directing all my clients and people that I help to the site. Yeah, definitely. Thank you.
Yeah, no, thank you so much. And just to say that I've known Lucy for like 20 years, something like that now, and she honestly is one of the most inspirational people, and yeah, you're incredible. So yeah.
Oh, thank you, George. Well, ditto, actually.
All right.
Yeah, ditto. All right. Thank you so much.